you all. Wow. Good morning. As the U.S. Marine here this morning, I have two missions. One, get us back on schedule. And number two, to answer the question, what makes America great? Look it. We're the greatest nation on the planet because of one word, and that word is freedom. Freedom is about people, individual citizens who know that in their heart, America is the greatest nation on earth because the American people are the freest people on earth. That's what makes America great. We're the only nation in history with a constitution that begins with these words, "We the people," thus defining who governs our country. Ours is the only constitution that recognizes God, not some prince or potentate, as God is the grantor of the blessings of liberty. Ours is the only constitution containing a real Bill of Rights, which protects the freedoms of every citizen from the awesome power of government. Ours is the only founding document which gives every law-abiding citizen the right to pray or not as they believe, to come and go as we want, to speak as we please, and among other freedoms, the right to keep and bear arms has no constitutional restrictions. Ours is the only country on the planet where every law officer, every member of our armed forces, every elected official takes an oath of office with words like these. They raise their right arm and they say, "I solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and to bear true faith and allegiance to same." That pledge is not to a person, a purpose, or a political party. It is to the Constitution of the United States, all of it, every word in it. And that oath ends with the words, "So help me God." I've raised my right hand to take and administer that oath hundreds of times since I first did so in front of a U.S. Marine recruiter on the 29th of December, 1961. On September 8th last year, I again pledged to support and defend our Constitution when I was given the privilege to serve as president of the National Rifle Association of America. No, nearly my whole life I've been blessed to be able to keep company with heroes, those who defend our freedoms overseas, as a Marine and as a war correspondent for Fox News. And now I get to keep company with the men and women of our nation's oldest civil rights organization who defend our freedoms here at home. That's what the NRA is all about, freedom. And as many of you know, the NRA is now in the midst of a serious fight to protect the Second Amendment and the First in a trial up in Albany, New York. Our opponents call themselves gun control advocates. They are not. They ought to call themselves what they really are, the vanguard of the Disarm America movement. You see, they're not going to be content to simply ignore the last four words of that Second Amendment, "shall not be infringed." They intend to repeal all 27 words and then confiscate every privately owned firearm in our country. They want to disarm you. No Second Amendment, no individual freedom, no civilian ownership of firearms, period. The Second Amendment is actually the purest metaphor for freedom, because if you're not free to defend yourself and your loved ones, then you're really not free at all. Our Second Amendment is unique. There's no other country that has anything like it. But if the disarmament movement succeeds in taking over our government, every one of those God-given individual rights, liberties, and freedoms guaranteed by our Constitution will be up for grabs. That means the America we know now will be no longer. It will cease to exist. There's one organization standing in their way, the National Rifle Association of America, with more than 5 million members. Now, at this point, I would normally ask for a show of hands of how many of you are members, but I don't want to embarrass anybody. If you're not a member, join us now. We'll be pleased to have you in our ranks.
Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama have a new favorite line, that Donald Trump is a symptom, not the cause. But here's the truth. Our president and all of us who believe in making America great are a cure to an ideology of elitism that looks down on those who have guns or pray to God and calls our neighbors in the heartland deplorables. A cure to an America last foreign policy that restricted the might of our military and denied our wounded heroes the care they deserve. A cure to targeting law enforcement while celebrating those who dishonor our flag. A cure to a Secretary of State who lied about Benghazi and a former president who disgracefully called the murder of those 4 Americans a conspiracy theory. And a cure to those who deny America's greatness. Over the last 2 years, we cured the ills they brought to our country. Let's stand together so the new leaders of the House of Representatives don't make America weak again.
Thank you. And since I've talked a lot about and to God in my lifetime, I ask you to pray for the NRA. We know it's freedom that makes America great, and we know that the NRA is freedom's safest place. God bless you. Semper Fidelis.